Morning traders, it's Matt here from the Forex Coach. It's currently 20 minutes past 10, Friday the 16th of February, and I've got a small trade off here on dollar CAD. I've had a couple of stop outs the last couple of days. I had a stop out on a dollar yen long position overnight. So as a result of that, I'm up for the week. I'm doing okay this week anyway, but I've got a couple of other things open. So what I've done is I've reduced down my trading size, and I think that's just good practice. I don't recommend stop trading, because I think that potentially you're going to get into bad habits of taking and losing setups and stuff, but you can adjust the volumes that you trade at accordingly to your P&L, etc, etc. But anyway, we've got a single half lot trade off here on dollar CAD this morning, and to the long side, setup entry was actually down here, slightly delayed with my entry on this one. We've got divergence type patterns on the higher time frames, which you can see here with these this trend here on the 5-minute chart, and then again on the 5-minute charts, divergences down here as well. So the opportunity to get back up there, the highs of yesterday, would be nice. It might not break the highs because it might be looking to roll over again, so I've made the target price below the highs, giving it a bit of leeway to play with. Stops out the way slightly just down here to give it a bit of breathing space if it does want to come down, diverge again, and then potentially push back up. Hi guys, just got back in. I've been out this afternoon, and I can see that this dollar CAD has had a good push up and has hit target price. Now, what actually happened was I actually entered a small hedge, or an equivalent position size hedge on this trade just before the news. There was news out at 1:30, both dollar and CAD, which meant that this could get quite volatile. And the trade was overbought. I'll just zoom in and I'll show you exactly on the chart where we were at. We were overbought up here, so I entered a hedge on this candle here, and we can see that a couple of candles after I was actually out, so I was using my mobile phone, but a couple of candles after the main trade took hit target price. Technically the hedge should have had a stop loss at the target price of the first hedge, but I hadn't even entered it at that point. So I've just exited at what point it would have been anyway, as you can see there with this red dashed line. So we didn't quite maximise the full potential from that trade, but I'm happy with what I was doing. There was the potential, what the plan was, if we hedged it and this did pull back on the news to this zone, then I would then have got closed out the hedge and then entered an additional entry long, because I think this has got potential now to push higher, this dollar CAD. So I think this has got potential to go up somewhat. So that's the plan anyway, and what I'm going to do now is to wait for this to roll over. If we can get a rollover and come off slightly, then I'll be looking to get long again. Okay, just back, and this dollar CAD has had its pullback, but it's of no significance really for me to warrant an entry. This would be the buy-in point for me, but what I was looking for was it to come down to this lower price envelope, this sort of level here on that move down, and then that would have been the opportunity for me to be able to get in on the long side. Looking at the bigger picture, it does look like it's got some potential to push higher, but that being said, there's always this area to fill, so it could do some pulling back and fill in this area before it then continues with this move up, because we've still got this downward facing 21 period moving average here as well. So it could just keep going. It'd be nice to see it breaking these highs. I think we've got a trend line across there at some point that it's gone through and tested, so potentially it's got the potential to break through and break up on there. because if we look at the daily charts, we've had this move down here, and we've pushed back up, and this move down here is more of a pullback, and we've come back into this 21 period moving average to then push higher today. So it was a good entry today and a good trade. Potentially if it had been a bigger size position, then I would have left some on for potential move higher. But as I say, didn't quite retrace enough for me there to justify getting in on the long side. So I'm going to call it a day here with the videos. I hope you've had a good week's trading, and I'll be back next week.